Good afternoon. Good afternoon to one and all present here. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this faculty development program organized by the Teaching Learning Center in collaboration with Research and Development Committee. Research is the lifeblood of academic innovation, and documentation is its point. As we embark on this FDP, let us renew our commitment to ethical and impactful. On behalf of the organizing team, I extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to all the participants. We are gathered here to explore the topic, research documentation, fundamentals, tools, and ethics, a subject of great significance in academic and research excellence in blended mode. Day 1 will be conducted in offline and online mode. The remaining 4 days will be conducted in online mode. Before we start with the program, I would like to give a few instructions to all the participants. All the participants are requested to log in by 1 p.m. daily. Participants need to have a minimum of 80% attendance to receive the participation certificate. Attendance will be recorded at the beginning and end of each session. Participants are requested to keep their mic muted unless invited to speak. Participants are requested to use the chat box for questions or further clarifications. Participants are requested to take notes during each session. Interactive question and answer session will follow after each presentation. Daily feedback forms will be shared at the end of each session. Participants are requested to fill the forms on time. All session PPTs, reading materials, and relevant links will be shared to the official WhatsApp group. Certificate of participation will be issued to those fulfilling the attendance and feedback criteria. Certificates will be emailed within 10 days to the registered email ID after the conclusion of FTP. Now, I would like to take the opportunity to invite our dignitaries onto the stage. Firstly, I request our principal, Dr. C.H. Raju, to come and take his seat. I now request our distinguished resource person, Dr. Raju Jannapu Reddy, to come and take his seat. I request our principal to welcome Sir with a sapling. Sir.
Okay.
Now I request Director PG Center, Dr. S. Gopikrishna, to come and take his seat. Lastly, I request the convener of this FTP, Dr. A. Jagannath Reddy, to come and take his seat. A warm round of applause as we welcome them. To begin this academic occasion on an auspicious note, let us invoke the light of knowledge and wisdom. I now request all the dignitaries to kindly proceed for the lighting of the lamp.
అయిపోయిన తర్వాత అయిపోయిందంటే వస్తుంది పిల్లలకి ఒక యాక్టివిటీస్ అంటే కొన్ని ఇద్దరితో మేలు అంత ఇవ్వాలి ఈ లోపల
Now, I take the opportunity to introduce the Faculty Development Program. FTPs are not just academic events, they are vital platforms that help us stay updated, refine our teaching skills, and deepen our understanding of emerging academic trends. In today's knowledge-driven world, research is the cornerstone of academic excellence. But more than conducting research, what truly defines its value and credibility is how we document it. This faculty development program is thoughtfully designed to address all these essential concepts. It aims to provide insights into fundamental practices of research documentation, introduce practical and user-friendly research tools, and emphasize the ethical considerations that uphold the spirit of genuine academic work. Over the course of this program, we will engage with experts, learn from examples, and explore how to enhance the quality and integrity of our scholarly output. We are extremely fortunate to be joined today by an eminent scholar and a resource person, Dr. Raju Jannapu Reddy, whose insights will undoubtedly set the tone for this meaningful academic journey. We believe this session will immensely benefit every academician striving for research excellence. With that, I once again extend a very warm welcome to each of you. Let us begin this FDP with open minds and a shared commitment to excellence in research and documentation. Now, we will hear a few words from our dignitaries. Firstly, I invite our principal, Dr. C.H. Raju, to address the gathering.
Good afternoon, everyone. AV College of Arts, Science and Commerce, established on 6th September 1968 with an objective to extend educational opportunities to backward sections of Telangana people. Our vision, empowerment through pursuit of excellence. Our mission, ignite young students' minds for knowledge and its application, to build competency, to encourage research and innovation. So research today, we are organizing faculty development program towards research and development. So respected chief guest of and the resource person today's program, that is Dr. Raju from University, PG Director Gopi Krishna sir, convener Jagan Reddy, members of Learning Teaching Center, Research Development Committee members, my dear staff. I warmly welcome you all to this faculty development program on research documentation on fundamentals, tools, and ethics. This topic is very important for teachers and researchers. Research today is not just for knowledge, it helps solve problems and build our nation. Proper documentation is key. Without clear records, right tools, and ethics, even great research may lose values. Today's session will guide us on basics of documentation, tools to make work easier, ethics in research. We are happy to have Dr. Raju, Osmania University, with us, an expert in this field. I request everyone to participate actively and make the best use of this opportunity. Thank you to the organizers and all those who supported this event. Let us begin the program, wishing it all success. Finally, I thank and I appreciate Teaching Learning Center, Research Development Committee, particularly Jagan Reddy sir, for helping the faculty to achieve overall faculty development and by organizing several programs. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite our Director, PG Center, Dr. S. Krishna, to offer his message.
Good afternoon to all of you. At the outset, I congratulate the organizers, especially Dr. Jagan Reddy and Benela, and the Teaching Learning Center and the Research and Development Committee of this college. For the last, because as a PG Center, we are encouraging the research in the towards the faculty. Those are not registered so far. I'm asking even still can start registering for the PhDs so that it helps in teaching because you are all settled as a teacher. So I request anybody that registered so far, please get it registered. And at this particular point of time, this is the actual correct time to organize this particular FDP and the research. So it gives me an immense pleasure participating in this inauguration of 5-day faculty development program on research development and fundamentals, tools and ethics. We are honored to have with us experienced experts and participants and practitioners in the field who will share their knowledge and real world experiences. I encourage everyone to engage actively, ask questions, participate in discussions, and connect with fellow researchers. Let this be an opportunity not just to learn, but to build a community of practice that values rigorous transparency, and ethics. Quality research is the result of meticulous documentation, ethical conduct, and the wise use of digital tools. As educators and researchers, our duty is not just to pursue new knowledge, but to do transparently, ethically, and collaboratively. Strong research documentation empowered by modern digital tools and guided by unwavering ethics yields research that is credible, impactful, and globally respectful. FDTs like this play a key role in nurturing such a research culture. I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity and congratulate them for holding such a important FDP. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request our convener, Dr. A. Jannapu Reddy, sir, to address us.
Good afternoon, respected Principal Sir, Dr. C.H. Rajlingam Sir, and Director Sir, and today's guest speaker and chief guest, Dr. Raju Garu. Welcome to 5-day FDP program. First and foremost, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our respected correspondent, Dr. K. Gautami Madam Garu. Her continuous encouragement and support have been instrumental in organizing a wide range of academic activities, including national level, international level, seminars, workshops, faculty development programs, etc. This is a proud and historic moment for AV College as we step into a new era of autonomous in this academic year 2025-26. In today's academic landscape, institutions across the country are placing increasing importance on research-based teaching and learning. This FDP, we are conducting blended mode. One day, that is first day, 28th today, we are conducting offline. Then remaining 4 days are online. I'll not take that means time, so I would like to complete. So my sincere thanks to Harish Gupta Garu for guidance and encouragement throughout the planning of this program. And in short time, I request Raju sir. He came and accepted our invitation and came there. And thank you each and every staff member, those who are attending online and offline for the 5-day FDP. Definitely, it will give some inputs to each and every faculty. Thank you, Research and Development Committee and TLC for their constant support. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Now I extend a warm and respectful welcome to Dr. Raju Jannapu Reddy. It's my privilege to introduce our esteemed resource person who is currently serving as an UGC Assistant Professor in the Department of Chemistry, University College of Science, Osmania University. Sir has earned his PhD in 2008 from the School of Chemistry, University of Hyderabad. Sir has pursued his postdoctoral research at National Taiwan Normal University, followed by prestigious fellowships at Kyoto Pharmaceutical University in Japan and the University of Birmingham, UK, where he was a Marie Curie Research Fellow. With over 45 publications, including top-cited articles and review papers in reputed international journals, Sir's research has made a significant impact in the fields of organosulfur chemistry and sustainable catalysis. His work has been recognized by the Royal Society of Chemistry and several of his papers have been marked as most accessed and very important publications. He is a member of the Royal Society of Chemistry, Associate Fellow of the Telangana Academy of Sciences, and a member of the Pharmaceutical Society of Japan. Notably, he is a recipient of the Time Chemistry Journals Award for 2025. Sir has successfully led 4 major research projects with funding exceeding over 1.3 crores and has supervised 5 PhD scholars and over 22 postgraduate dissertations. His dedication to cutting-edge research and mentorship continues to inspire young scientists. We are honored to have such a distinguished scholar with us today. We now look forward to your session and to learning from your expertise and insights. Over to you.
అదే పెట్టేసి అదే పెట్టేసి వాళ్ళే సార్ మేము అదే పెట్టేసాం సార్
ఈ ల్యాప్టాప్ నడుస్తుంది
System అది
పేజ్ రావట్లా చదివే కాంటిది మంచిగా రికార్డ్ అవుతుంది. చెప్పచ్చు కదా చెప్పాలి
ఫోన్ లో వస్తుందా ఫోన్ లో వస్తుందా లేదు
క్లియర్ అయిపోతుంది ఆన్లైన్ ఇక్కడ
చూసాను జగన్ కొన్ని అయిపోయింది ఆయన స్థలం వేరు ల్యాండ్ ఉంది ఫ్లాట్స్ ఉన్నాయి ఫ్లాట్ ఆన్ షిఫ్ట్ HDMI
స్క్రీన్ అంత వస్తుంది
సార్ నా స్క్రీన్ షాట్ తీసుకుంటే ఫుల్ స్క్రీన్ షాట్ ఎక్కడ వస్తుంది?
టోటల్ నేమ్స్
laptop में देखा ना थोड़ा maybe actually like that. We used to do that when we used to make online classes. Start laptop ఏదో ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఉన్నట్టు
నా ల్యాప్టాప్ పెడతాను నా ల్యాప్టాప్ ఇక్కడ ప్రాబ్లం ఉంది స్టార్ట్ చేద్దాం నో ప్రాబ్లం ఆల్రెడీ
ఇక్కడ దీనికి HDMI ఇది ప్రాపర్ గా లేదు HDMI ఇది HDMI కనెక్ట్ చేశారా దాంట్లో is searching for HDMI. I was searching. It is not taking code.
Two, sir. HDMI 2, sir.
Hmm?
2.
HDMI is but it is not take. It is proper of the HDMI. It is searching and coming out. HDMI keeps better. HDMI keeps better in searching.
Directly from power of yes, sir. वही आ रहा अपना కనెక్షన్ వైర్ కనెక్షన్ నేను అప్పుడే చెప్పిన పోతున్నా కేబుల్ కనెక్షన్
మార్చారా?
సేమ్ ఇంతకు ముందు వాడింది సార్.
ఇది ఇక్కడ ఏదో
వైర్ది ఏదైతే
Right in chat box on this. There is some technical issue and be patient with that.
Share.
Chat box is
సార్ సార్ సార్
Participants here. Share
I'm not able to
share to the participants.
ये साल डिसाइड किया अच्छा आपको लाइक कलर पे आ रहा है टेक्स्ट कलर टेक्स्ट कलर वाइट पे
Screen share.
पूरा वाइट कलर पे आ रहा है
Share button.
आपको आपका टेक्स्ट कलर ही वाइट है कुछ करना चाहिए
So this will the same time, was the nickname dear participants, there was some technical issue. When you type in your white में क्यों आ रहा है? मैं तो कुछ नहीं कर रहा Start
Start.
Yeah, speaker. So good afternoon, everyone. So first of all, at outset, I would like to thank you, Jagannapu Reddy sir, for kind invitation. And also I would like to thank you, my colleague, Dr. Harish Gupta, who introduced me, today's speaker, for the resource person of this 5-day research, documentation and fundamental and ethics program. And also I would like to thank you for the Manila Madam for the kind introduction. So without wasting much time, I will go to my content of presentation today. So what is the research? What is the research methodology? How to design the research? Of course, many seniors are here. So, however, I will try to do my best. Okay. And before going to the content of my presentation today, let me introduce myself. So where I started my research and what is my research exposure, whether I'm the right resource person for the today's seminar or not, it will be judged. I completed my PhD in the University of Hyderabad, one of the notable professor, Professor D. Basavaya. Subsequently, I moved to the National Taiwan Normal University, where I carried out postdoctoral research. Thereafter, I got an opportunity to work in the Japan during the tsunami at 2010. I was there in the Japan, then Tokyo, the big tragedy. During that time, I was in the Japan. And a couple of years I was there in the Japan, 2010 to 2012. And subsequently, I moved to the University of Birmingham, UK, where I carried out the research as a Marie Curie Research Fellow. And today, I'm going to speak about research. What is the meaning of the research, and what is the criteria and importance, and how to design the research, what is the methodology it involves, basically, and how to design, how to process the research, how to formulate the research problem, basically. That is the one of challenging task for nowadays. And what type of hypothesis you can take into the consideration to address your research. And finally, I will be address the role and preparation of the documentation. So among these points are very crucial to understand about the one can do really interested to do research. So these are the criteria need to be followed. And the most important aspect for the research is the commitment and dedication. That is a very, very key parameters to do the right research and employ the right research hypothesis is the really need a commitment and, of course, dedication. And let me begin with the one saying that all of us know, that Albert Einstein, what it says, he says, if you know that we are doing, we know that what we are doing is not called for research. You should not know. It is completely unknown aspect need to understand by doing your research. Whatever you are doing something, if you know it, but that is not called as a research, according to him. Of course, it is 100% true. I also believe the same. Whatever you do, that must be unknown, and you need to be establish a method to understand about the facts beyond the research. That will be give these certain hidden problems, hidden issues, and of course, several methodologies need to be applied. Another definition for the scientific definition, it is the systematic efforts to gain new knowledge. Of course, every research will give the certain knowledge that we all of you know. But however, it has to be a systematic manner to gain the right knowledge. The knowledge which will be applicable to the society at a large scale. And also it can be emphasized the journey from the known to unknown. So it will be establish methods to be unknown procedures or methods to understand about the fact behind the research. And let me give this some brief introduction about the research. The research, we know it becomes an essential and powerful tool for the humankind. Should be undertaken for the most of the professionals. Expertise, you should have some expertise in a particular domain to carry out your research, and it will give the new products as well as the new facts, new concepts need to be developed, new way of the things doing, and should be found to increase the significant research in the physical, biological, medical, and so on. Various fields you need to be occupied. The particularly science, it will be vast to do research in the different domains, including the physical to the biological to psychological to the medicinal fields. So how to define this research? The research activity can be easily to lead us to find the new facts about the valuable information. Need to identify the right facts by you doing your research, and you will get the valuable information. So that should be verified thoroughly by making a question of thinking and difficult to understand existing data. And it should correlate with whatever the data existing in the literature. It should have to be correlate both your research aspect and as well as what is there in the literature, and it can be correlate and it can be composed your research hypothesis. For example, if you take into the consideration, you want to be a successful group leader or a successful manager or successful in anything. What you need to do, you need to be focused on a few aspects, as it mentioned here, making the right decisions, not just knowledgeable about various steps involved, finding these solutions, problematic in issues, where the problematic issues are involved in the aspect or any field in the domain, you need to be find a solution for them. Then only it will be considered as a group leader, a manager for the any research. And not only this one, it can be research is the, it will be word a combination of two. One is the re can be, gain the knowledge, gain and try again. Search, all of you know, the search is the closely, carefully, and you should know, test, try, and again. Combination of these words, re and search, can be defined as a search for knowledge. It is a continuous process for the search for knowledge by doing research. And research can be, a systematic process in be acquired, discovering the new knowledge, as well as the validating the existing knowledge. At the same time, if you are discovering the knowledge, new knowledge, you can have to be compared with the existing knowledge, whatever it is there in the particular domain. And of course, it should be involved in the careful and detailed investigation. We should have the detailed investigation into the specific subject or a specific problem, whatever you choose. So therefore, it can be involved the careful and detailed investigation using the a scientific methods that has to be gathered the lot of information by experiments. By experiments, need to be to conduct a lot of experiments in the laboratory or in the society, whatever it in the case. So you need to be conduct, and also it is also essentially required to do the case studies to understand about the hypothesis of your domain. That hypothesis of domain need to be established. You need to have a thorough knowledge with the support of the literature. And another aspect should be the interpretation of the information. Whatever the information gathered, that you need to be interpreted properly. The interpretation should not be overrun in a unique place, so therefore it need to be interpreted properly. It is a
Share the screenshot. Share.
okay. Screen share. It's okay, sir. Is it okay, sir? Now?
Zoom. Open the Zoom.
Zoom.
Zoom, please. Now share screen. Share. Automatically.
Yeah. Fine. Okay. Yeah, that's how we need to do. This is what the practice we need to be learned to do the research to reach right place. So this is called a research. So in other words, the research can be, advanced should be understanding. The classic research need to be advancing in the understanding the hypothesis. It should be in the aspect of the problem solving and making to the informed decisions and so on. And there are many ways of the definitions are available in the literature. Of course, there are dozens of definitions are there. I pick up few of them, and which is the first and most important definitions as per my knowledge. And there are key scientific definition as follow is here. So the first one says is the attempt to discover and develop a verify knowledge and intellectual properties over the hundreds of the years, changing the purpose from the waste to the reaching the new truth. Need to be identify the truth. The truth can be established and to be understand. The second aspect of the definition, that is the honest, exhaust, intellectual searching the facts and their meaning to understanding the given problem. The problem need to be solved at the while we doing the exhaust and intellectual searching of the facts and the product and finding the given piece of the research, and we should be authentic, verify the contribution knowledge in the field of the research. Third definition is a simple definition. It can be defined as the method for the studying the problem. Those solutions are to be the partly or all of the from the facts. Overall, you need to be identify the facts by doing the research. What fact you understand by the doing the research need to be established the methods by either analytical or any other method need to be established. And the fourth one is the to be considered the more formal. This is the classic definition for the research and the systematic investigation of intensive process of research and scientific merits of the analysis. And it should be no systematic structure of investigation. It useful with the some sort of the formal record of the procedure and report for the result and as well as the conclusion. So whatever the research you employ, you need to be have the conclusion end of your research. whatever it is. So these are the sort of the definition are available in the literature. So what are the characteristics of the research? The major characteristics of the research will be one of the most important aspect is the process, research process. A research process can be see this a careful approach to explore the understand of the new ideas. You need to be understand about the new ideas. Whatever the ideas you want to be understand, you need to be very carefully explore. How to explore the new ideas by doing the literature survey very carefully. You can identify the any major research gap. That gap need to be identified. That can be considered as your research problem. That can be taken into the consideration. Once you take into the new ideas, then it can be established the methodology for it. What kind of methodology can be established? The methodology should be clear and step-by-step scientific method. Whatever the methodology you want to be established, it should be clear and concise manner, and it should be always step-by-step scientific methods. So, and then after you need to be consider the objective of your research. What is the major goal for your research? The objective of the major of the research will be based on the facts. What are you are going to invest, what you are going to achieve from your research, that is the major consideration that's said to be the objective, that is the based on facts. It is not any personal perspective, it is not consideration any general or a personal opinion. It will be goes through only the facts of the research, that is considered to be the objectivity. And then you need to be have the evidence. Any research should have the evidence. Without evidence, it is difficult to convince one, and you should have a solid evidence to understand about your research at the same time, and also you need to be convince others. And observe, of course, it will be the evidence can be generated by the derived from the observation as well as the applying the experiments. And also purpose of the research can be employed aims to find the answers and solve the problems. And the depth knowledge should have. So the knowledge goes to the beyond collection, the deeper understanding about your research. And finally, the outcome of the research can be developed in the broad theories to explain what you have find. The facts need to be explained in the manner of theory. The characteristics of the researcher need to be having as follow. The characteristics of that should be directed towards the solution of a problem. So you need to be understand about towards the solution of the problem. Any research is required certain expertise in the defined field, and also it will be involved in the development of generalizations, principles, theory. It will be predict the future experience and occurrences of the research. And research should be the objectable and experience and empirical evidence. And also research demands the accurate observation and as well as the description. So this will be gathered, the research involved in the primary or a first aid source using the existing data of the news purpose. You need to be identify what are the existing data available in the literature, and also you need to be identify your research problem and correlation of both. You can be establish your research hypothesis. And also you can be carefully design the procedure for the vigorous analysis, and also it will involve the various questions which is unsolved so far. Those can be addressed by the research. And also it will be objective and logical. Any research should be objective and logical to apply the validate the procedure and employ the data collected, and the conclusion should be reached for the research. And researcher should be characterized it should have one researcher should have a patience, a lot of patience is required, and thorough activity need to be established by doing your research. And any researcher can be carefully record and collect the relevant data and establish your hypothesis. And finally, research required sometimes a courage to take the decision, whatever you're finding, before you report your analysis. And what are the criteria for the good research? There are many criteria to satisfying the good research. The good research, the purpose of the good research should be criteria. Clear, defined problem need to be understand. Very clear, defined problem need to be understand. That should be common concept should be used for every users. And also the research procedure should describe sufficient details to permit the another research. So it is research not end by one person. It is a continuous process. It should be continued to other person, and it need to be another person also will be continue the research. Therefore, it should be having the sufficient data. The data can be taken into the consideration. Another person will be continue their research. And the third aspect is the procedural design of research, a very important aspect. It should be carefully planned. The yield should be objectable at the end of the possible. And the research should be report with a complete frankness. So show no hidden things should be happen in the research. You should be open for the discussion, either with your colleagues or a supervisor, whatever in the case. It should be whatever is happening in the while doing the research or in the laboratory or in the society. You should be frankly tells the what are you observed in the research. Otherwise, the things will be go wrong and the research objective will be go wrong. Overall, the concept will be the miss the reality. So therefore, the should be report the complete frankness and what are the flaws you observed, any errors or mistakes you observed during the procedure, and it should be eliminate or estimate the finding, the research finding. And the analysis sufficiently advocate the real significance of your research, as well as the analysis should be appropriate. That the analysis will be validated from the various, and reliability should be checked very carefully by you doing your research. And the conclusion will be confined. Whatever you observed in the by doing your research, that should be confined. You should not be add any additional information that you feel so. So therefore, it should be confined and justified by the data of research, limited those who have the data provided in the advocated basis. And the greater confidence it should provide for the conducting the research should have a greater confidence to the warranted if research should be experienced in the by doing your research, and also is a good reputation in research, and also the person should be integrity of the person should be matter for the conducting the good research. And define the research problem. How to define the research problem? Though it is a challenging task to define the research problem, you should have a experience in the particular domain, then only it can be considered to be identify the particular research problem. So you need to be understand the research problem properly and clearly what you really want to do. So that should be taken into the consideration as the research problem. That research problem, you need to be define yourself as the study to take into the consideration that should be in the systematic manner, as well as the giving the weightage, all related points you want to be exposed in the later stage. And the technically, the purpose of this take into the consideration, there are the systematic research problem need to be, the statement of problem should be general, very general, should be understand everyone with your colleagues or your whatever you are, wherever you are working, that so the statement should be understand in general way. Second aspect, you need to be understanding the nature of the problem. The nature of the problem need to be understand, and that particular domain, whether your expertise or not, you need to be realized before taking to the consideration of the any research problem. Third one is the survey of the literature, surveying the available literature. That is the most important aspect. Without knowing the literature, if you start your research, if it, whether it is known or unknown, you need not realize at the early of your research. Once your process is started, you've gone through your research, then you realize if it is the facts are known, it will be difficult to go back. So it will be where efforts will be going to waste. Therefore, you need to have a thorough knowledge about your literature. So therefore, always is the recommend, having the literature background regarding your research problem, the defined research problem. You need to have a thorough knowledge about your research. And the fourth aspect is the developing the ideas through discussion. This is another important aspect. You need to be discussed. Research, always discuss. It can be elaborate many dimensions. It will be expanded into the many dimensions if you discuss with your colleagues or our suitable or expertise person. So it will be domains will be expand further and further. So they will tell some story about the background of the particular research. Therefore, it always take into the consideration of the discussion. It should be thorough discussion, and that can be defined your research problem more efficiently and as well as effectively. And the last aspect of the research problem, defining the research, rephrasing the research problem on the working proportion. What is the meaning of the rephrasing? There are many ways to understand about your research. And you need to be more concise pathway you need to be identified. So you need to be several pathways to reach your target or your goal or your objective. If you have the 3-4 pathways are available, you need to be identify the one pathway. That pathway should be very concise manner as well as the shortest manner, at the same time economical. Well, these are to be consideration to define the research problems, and also what is the significance of the research. So all progress are born out of the curiosity. So if you inquire, so you will be often you will be generate the curiosity of some sort of the inquire about the problem. So the notable things is here is the doubt create the doubts. The doubt can be leads to the inquiry. That inquiry leads to the innovation. So you need to be encourage the young minds, particularly to don't stop their inquiry, and we need to understand about the beyond of their inquiry, and that inquiry will lead to a lot of information and a lot of information through innovation. So this was said by Edison Maximum, and it will be it will give the significant information and significance to the understand about the research. The increasing research efforts will be made progress possible through the possible inquiry in the particular research aspect. And research will be inculcate the scientific as well as the inductive thinking. So when you have the inculcate the research habits, so in yourself, the scientific and inductive things that will be promote the development of the logical habits as well as the thinking organization will be. And research will be provide the basis of the nearly government policy, their economical systems. Every government is providing part of the facilities. Every institutes having their own research domain and research areas. So therefore, we can the basis of using the government policies. Of course, their government is bringing the several policies to the general required for to carry out the research. The cost of the needs for the research will be there for the government systems. And the revenue required, and a lot of revenue it will be required where the field of the most required. And research it will be significant on solving the problem, operational as well as the planning of the problem, as well as the business as well as the industry. Both sectors it will be occupied in the research to solving the problems as well as the various operational problems, operational sectors. The significance of research will be, government, many governments will be chartered programs with the state of the country. What are the requirements of country? Especially they need to understand about what is the country required. The country will be understand about the facts and the fates of the general citizen is required. The general citizen, whatever the required, they will be give these sort of the research fields. On the basis of the research field, they can be asked them to proposal to submit, and government will give the funding. Will be established your research aspects, so that will be directly or indirectly to the economic conditions of any government. And the context of the government, the research should be economical policies, though it should be economical, not in the expensive manner. So therefore, it should be conducted in the research. In the three distinguished pages in the operation, one can be investigation in the economical structure through the continual gathering of the facts. It should be continuous gathering. It should be economical aspects. Second one is the diagnosis of the event that taking place and analysis of the force underlining them. Third aspect, the forecast. You need to be predict of the outcome or the future development of your research. So it is always is a good consideration for the, it will be societal related research or the objective related research, or else the fundamental research or else industrial related research. Whatever in the case, it should be address the problem having in the society that should be addressed by the researchers. Nearly all governments maintain the large staff of the research technician as well as the experts to conduct their research in the specific domains to address the many research problems. And also it is equally important for the social scientists. The social scientists can be having their own research by doing the research laboratories. So when I am doing the PhD in the University of Hyderabad, is the one honorable President of India addressing the gathering through online mode, at the time online mode, Abdul Kalam ji honoring the one of the social history student was asked, many science researchers are there doing their research. What is the role of the social science students? He given quite good answer. Really, I impressed that answer. So whatever science people are doing their research in the laboratory, these social science students are a scientist taken to at the large scale into the public. They need to be new. Your job is to, whatever the science is established in the research laboratories or national laboratories or in even academic institutes, whatever the science is established, that science is taken into the society by their social scientists will play very, very important role to reach whatever the laboratories research findings and how problems will be solved. So that way it will be convinced the social scientist will be role very, very important to reach to the laboratory, to the public domain. So it will be impact role of the social scientists. And also it is equally important, social scientists, as I mentioned, seeking their answers and addressing the social problem. And also is the common man to understand about the science. So for me, it is difficult to explain the common man, what I'm doing my science in the laboratory. So I'm expertise in my domain. However, it is difficult for me to explain. But so there is a one another person, that person known to be the social scientist. This social scientist will need to play a very, very important role to convince or to reach whatever the achievement was made in the research laboratories, it should be reached to the common man. What is the importance of the research? The importance of the research is stated here. So to understand the keep of the view of the following points. So all of us know that the master's or a PhD thesis is one of the very important aspect for the research. And the research it will be one aspect is the career. So we require the PhD degree to become an academician. So the career aspect is the one of the position and the social structure as well as And the second aspect is the professional in the research methodology to reach the source of the livelihood. If you address the societal problem, that will be create the livelihood, that will be create the life. And the third one is the philosophers and thinking that will be converted into the outlet of the new ideas. Whatever they generate in the laboratory, the philosophers as well as the thinkers will be taken to the large scale to the new idea. They will become the outlet of the new ideas, or whatever the insights you are establishing within the laboratory, that will be that will be taken to the philosopher and thinkers. The fourth one is the man and woman, literally man and woman will be, research can be meant by the development of the new style and a creative work. So any woman and man can be known, get the knowledge from the out of the research, and it will be, should be the creative research work can be employed in the laboratories. And the last aspect is the analyst or intellectual. So analysts are intellectual to define the research problem. What are the problems are defined? Those defined problems get into the conclusive manner, and it will be research that should be generalized and that should be generalized. And not only generalized, it will be established in the theory. Many theories nowadays we are studying, all theories are based on one of the research aspects. And the next aspect is the research methodology. The research methodology can be defined there are methods and methodology. So the methods can be defined in the scientific procedure accomplishing and approaching one thing, particularly one that is systematically or established. Only one aspect, if you take into the consideration, that will be called as the method. So when you have the combined a set of the methods, so the set of specific procedure or techniques if you establish, that known to be the methodology. The major difference will be the method. The method will be one problem if you solve, and other one is the set of the problem if you solve, or a technique or a procedure if you establish, that to set to be the research methodology. So that can be used to identify and select and process, analyze the information of the particular topic. Of course, methodology involves again the systematical and theoretical analysis of the methods applied within the field of the study. Within the field of the study, you need to be establish a theory by doing the several experiments, by doing the several methods need to be established. Therefore, you need to be able to having the research methodology that include the examination of the principle methods associated with the specific branch of knowledge could be established. And the crucial aspect of the research will be the identify the vital methodologies decision for the researcher that will be face of the distinguish with the qualitative and quantitative analysis or a quantitative data can be established. This will be determined by the collective of the quantifiable data. So all data will be consideration, and it should be qualitative and quantitative, and this to be carefully examined for your research aspects. And how to define the research methodology? This research methodology will be structured by the scientific approach and collect analysis and interpretation of the qualitative and quantitative data that will be answer the many hypotheses or questions that be posed by the researchers, and that will be tested. And the research methodology is a plan that has been carried out by the research, helps to the research, tracking the limit of the scope of the research. That will be promote your research by taking the carry out by the several. And the research methodology is the way and systematically solve the problem. It should be understand about the problem. You identify the problem first, and then it should be systematically solve the research problem. It may understand the science of the studying, how research can be done very scientific manner. And the research methodology is the problem processing and finding the solution for the problem. And after thorough study, analysis of the statistical situational factors, And whatever you do the research, we can talk about the methodology. Whatever the methodology we establish, we can talk about the methodology. And the methodology can be not only talk about the methods, it also be considered logical beyond the methods. You need to be go through the logical beyond your method established. And also the context of the real research can be thoroughly understand. And how to choose the research methodology. So the research methodology is choosing the research methodology quite challenging task. You should understand about the clear perception of the research in terms of the research. It should be meaningful, methods to be established, and it should be research and scientific method. They are closely related to each other. The first aspect of the understanding or the choosing the research methodology is the research objective. That objective should be clear enough, and aim of your research should be thoroughly understand, and the questions and the hypothesis should be established. You need to question yourself what kind of research problem you are taking to the consideration. And these will be help to the overall your structure of the research design. And the second aspect is the reviewing of the existing literature, identify the gaps in the knowledge. So if you do carefully the reviewing the literature, you will able to identify the certain gaps in the research. So if you're able to identify the certain gap in the research, that will be your real research problem. So that how you are going to address that is the problem, that will be based on the existing literature, that will be developed the hypothesis. The hypothesis will be established based on the check and statistical requirement. This is the most important. If the check and statistical requirement is you need to be generate a lot of data, or else data collection need to be important to understand, or a statistical studies is required for to generate these results, and in the qualitative and quantitative manner. This will be questioned to be the answer. Whatever the question you have questioned yourself, the research problem, that should be answered by doing your research. And also the opinions and perception and the qualitative research will be most suitable for the check and statistical requirement. And the fourth one is the size of the research is the very important. The sample size of the research will be often determine the feasibility of the research methodology. Depend on always your research methodology. Based on the research method, you will be fixed about the size of the sample size of the research. Of course, it is some cases a large scale, and it should be less efforts can be performed, and it will be time-intensive methods are more appropriate to less time and more gain. That kind of research can be employed. And constraint, the fourth problem is the constraint of time and geographic and resources you need to be identified. You need want to employ the research, any research in the particular domain. The resources are very, very important. Without research, you cannot be address your problem. So you need to be identify what are the resources you have the first. And if you identify the resources, then your objective or aim that will be address by using your resources that can be define your problem with the appropriate methodologies. So the types of the research methodology classified is here. Generally that will be general category and research design, data type, the purpose of the study, the nature of the study. The general category can be defined as the research will be qualitative and quantitative research, and the research defined will be explanatory research and a conclusive research. Both can be taken into the consideration. The nature of the research, descriptive and analytical research, these are the important aspects in the fundamental research. And the purpose of the research, you should have what is the purpose of your research. The purpose of research should be either it will be applied research or in the fundamental research. The basically institutes are doing the fundamental research, whereas the industries are working on the applied research at large scale. And data type is will be give the information, preliminary information that's said to be the primary information as well as the secondary information. Once you have the preliminary information, to establish your hypothesis. Then you can be consider for the secondary information that will be established the hypothesis you want to be. And this type of the elaborate this type of the research can be the basic type of the research. As I said, the descriptive analytical research, though both are the unique words, this is the various type of the products need to be understanding inquiry towards the inquiries, and the descriptive research provide the amount of the account of the quantity to the current state of the affairs. And in the contrast, analytical research required the utilization as well as the existing the data. Utilization existing data will be provide the relevant information of the your research. And the applied and fundamental research, as I said, the basic basically the many institutes are doing the fundamental research. They will be generate the hypothesis of the problem. They will be generate the theory of the research problem. Whereas the industry will be working on the applied research. Industry people will be work and deliver the product and deliver the goods as per the requirement. So the research will be categorized either applied or a basic. The applied research will be find the solution for the immediate problem that the society facing. They will be identify the immediate problems. So as you know, how we are facing the COVID problem, COVID situation, we have got the vaccination. So as a result, such kind of things will be considered as the applied research. So this applied research is the established on the based on the fundamental research. Once you have the fundamental research, then only it will be established in the applied research. So fundamental research will be generalized with the preliminary concerned with the generalization and development of the theories that has been established at the small scale in the laboratories. And qualitative and quantitative research can be employed. The qualitative research is based on the measuring of the quantities and the amounts that are applied for the phenomena that exist for the numerically. And of course, the qualitative research will be the phenomena related to the quality of the characteristic rather than the quantity. So these are the class of the types of the research will be existed. So though both can be fundamental applied are crucial for the society, and the fundamental research by enhancing the fundamentals of the discipline, and it will be fundamental research seek the way of the within the develop the theory. Any fundamental research will be established a set of hypotheses. That hypothesis will be considered as the theory. The theory will be learned for the young generation. The theory will be going to the at large scale to the industry, and it will be assume all the variable will be remaining in the constants. All will be technical languages can be used. No, any languages can be used. No, either Chinese can be used or Meridian language can be used. Any Germany or whatever language, local language can be used for the understanding about the fundamental theory of the principle. So, if, for example, if the Newton theory is there, Newton theory can be explained in the Telugu or English or Malayali, or else not only in the national language, or it can be explained in the international language, Japanese or Germany, whatever in the case that will be explained. Whereas if you can commit to the applied research, this will be a crucial goal for the research that can be expand the scope of the application. That should be address the problem society facing. The immediate address the problem they're facing. So as I mentioned in the COVID crisis, we have a immediate vaccination. So such kind of the problems can be addressed by applied research. Challenging changes of the recognition that variable constant. And here is the most important aspect. These report will be standardized language. It should be, medium of instruction should be in the international language, most preferably English language. Unlike the fundamental research, we cannot see the others. And qualitative and quantitative research can be, classified into the various Okay, sorry for this another interruption. The qualitative research will be not defined into the various parameters, which be innovation, non-innovation research, and it will be classified into the various parameters of the research. And non-innovation research will be explaining whether the innovation influence the outcome of the one group, and it will be associating with the relating the variable predictable problems where a platform could be established. And the qualitative research can be exploring the common experience of the individual to develop a theory. To individuals to develop the theory, one can need to be understand about the scientific temperament. They can be established a theory by their research. So the theory can be in the shape of the culture,
variables in
individual,
predictable pattern
so
for
it should
one
be
group of
living,
individuals.
and it should be the ground theory and the ecological theory. So, sir, the down.
Experimental small research theory.
ఇక్కడ ఇది పనిచేయట్లేదు సార్ ఇది కాదు పీపీటీ షేర్ చేసిందంట మూవ్ అవ్వట్లేదు yes. So another aspect for the research is the research process. How need to be process your research. The process of the research consists of the several steps. Several steps it involves. So if the diagram is explained here, there are several steps, almost 7 steps it involves. First steps will be define of a research problem. You need to be have the define of the research problem. So second aspect is the literature of the review. Literature review is need to be consideration, the literature of the review with respect to the concept of your research. Concept of your research or theories on the research of the previous research findings. Whatever the research previous findings, you need to be understand. Based on this one, once you define your research problem, as well as you have the literature background about the relevance of your research, you can be formulate the hypothesis. You can be formulate your research hypothesis. This research hypothesis can be, will be going to the design of the research, including the sample of your design. For the test, you can be designed as the sample. Then once you have the design of your research, you can be perform your research, and then it will be collect of the data. The data execution is a very important aspect. Once you perform the research, you can collect the research and execution. The research can be, once you collect the data, you need to be check your hypothesis. The test of the hypothesis is very important parameter. If you analyze the data, the hypothesis what you are assuming, that means which means the defined research problem are solved at the stage of fifth, at the stage of sixth. At the stage of 6, if the defined problem is solved, then you can be considered and go to the next step to establish the interpretation as well as the establish or the report of your data. Otherwise, you can be reanalyze your data and go back the whatever you collected. If your hypothesis is not what your hypothesis you are expected that is not matching with the data, you need to go back and re-verify the collected data. You need to identify where is the problem, and you need to again will be redesign or reformulate your research problem, and you can do the similar steps, and it can be establish again the collect the data, analyze the data, and collect data one aspect, and a more important aspect is the analyzing the data. Once you analyze the data and your hypothesis will be matched, then will be proceed for the interpretation and report your data. Otherwise, you need to be reversible between the data collection as well as the analysis of the data, which will be based on your hypothesis, whether it's matched or not. And several parameters are there to understand about the research processes. The first one is the most important steps are here given, and various steps it involves. The first one is the formulating of the research problem. So this will be constant, the first step, the scientific inquiry. So you need to formulate your research problem, first aspect, understand about the research problem thoroughly, and a rephasing of your research problem. And the second one is an extensive research survey need to be employed. So the literature survey need to be employed very carefully with the manner of your research problem, and it will be summarized, and it will be researched to be undertaken. Extensive literature survey will well connected with the problem you want to be addressed. So this kind of journey, and there are many literature methods are there to the journey of the literature survey, academic journals, books, as well as the proceedings or the government reports. Many others literature surveys are there to identify your literature problem. And based on the literature survey, then you can go for the established hypothesis. You know your problem, you know the literature background of the same problem, then it can be established your hypothesis. The hypothesis is based on the literature survey. Researchers should be clear enough on working on the hypothesis, and just you can imagine the tentatively assumption will be takes place to draw the attention of the logical thinking and the empirical consequences. And the fourth one is the preparing of the research design. The design will be various parameters again to prepare the research design. So that should be clear cut. That will be address the research problem, and also the conceptual structure within the research what you want to do. That is the dependent on the 4 categories: exploration, as well as the description, and the diagnosis, and the experimentation. First, you need to explore your research problem, and you need to describe your problem thoroughly, and you need to carefully diagnose the research problem, and then you can go for the experiment. And once you have the experiment, you can proceed for the next stage. So that will be determining the design, sample design. The sample will be designed must be based on the researcher, that will be taken nature of your inquiry, that will relevant the facts. And the data collection is another important aspect to understand about the research process. So that will be observed some qualitative measurements of the data. So you need to should have the qualitative data, then only you can be established with the collecting the data. It should be examined the truth you are achieving by your hypothesis. And execution of the project is the very important steps on for the research processes, and that should be correct line, and data collection should be adequate and should be dependable. And eighth one is the analysis of the data, that the data require a number of closely related operations. So that will be established based on the various categories. So through coding, tabulation, drawing the statistical influence, so various parameter is there to analyze your data that you generated for your sample design. And the hypothesis testing is the research position to test it. This is really required in expertise. Unless you don't have expertise, you cannot be established hypothesis. So you should have in particular domain or a research field, you should have expertise. Then you can establish the hypothesis, to establish the hypothesis, to support the hypothesis, what they happen, whether it is any contradictory problem or the problem solving. And 10th one is the generalization and interpretation. The data you generate all should be carefully interpreted, all the data. It should be possible for the researchers their way. Once you interpret the data, so then it can be build a theory on the basis of the data. So you have done something, you got something, you established something, and you are concluding something. So this something is very important. Always you need to be having the something, that something is important. What is the something? So that something will be established, build a theory of your research hypothesis. And finally, and foremost important aspect, preparation of the report. All the 10 important parameters, one side, another important parameter is the another edge for the preparation of the report are the very, very important. And the presentation of the results, whatever you have the presentation results you have, unless you not communicate effectively, the results will not reach the other side. So therefore, the preparation of the result and the presentation of the results very, very important. That should be make up in the formal way of writing. That's said to be the documentation. The documentation is the very important, playing very, very, very important role in the research. So whatever you do in the research, in the laboratory, data collection, and you should have the format of the document. The document will be addressed many things. The document will be provide the theory. The document will be useful for the next generation to establish their own hypothesis based on your report. So therefore, the documentation is the very, very important. What is the role of the documentation in the particularly research? The role of the document in the ensuring the accuracy and transparency as well as the reproducibility of the research project. So the key important, it should be transparent enough whatever the research finding you have, the society, whatever you do. And transparency also very, very important. As long as the accuracy of the data and the reproducible, that the report you have been reported one method in the laboratory, so you need to be reproducible again. Who want to do the same result, you want to be reproducible, it should be reproducible. And it involves the systematical recording as aspect of the research from the initial planning of the data collection, analysis, and reporting. And the meritorious of the keep recording the resources, the data and methodology, and as well as the decisions. And the significance of the report writing. What are the significance of report writing? Report writing is the major component of the research study and the remain incomplete of the report. Will be written. For the matter of the fact, the report very, very important. Hypothesis will be established, highly designed and conducted research. The striking the generalization of the findings. It will give the effective value unless all the effectively yes, you don't have effective communication. Whatever you have done in the laboratory of the research, that should be effective communication, should be established through presentation as well as this will be in entry of the general storage of knowledge. So it will be storage of knowledge. So either in the form of the journals, either in the form of the books, either in the form of the conference proceedings, or else in the form of the material of the news readers, whatever in the form. So it will be storage of the knowledge that will be explain the significance of the research reports. So people do not consider the writing the report integral part. It will be considered to the integral part of the research. And when people do their research in the laboratory, they will scared to write their report. So
circular అదే నోటీస్ మళ్ళీ రిపీట్ చేసేస్తారు మళ్ళీ దాని హెడ్డింగ్ సర్క్యులర్ చేయమంటారా
will be integral part of your research is the writing of report or writing of the journal or writing of
అట్లాగా
from the research findings, the research findings and reports, the interior of the research project.
సిగ్నేచర్
And the last
పొద్దున్న
step of
రాగండి
study in inquiry, set of the skills.
సరే మీకు పొద్దున్నే
So,
ఫార్వర్డ్
research report will be required some sort of additional skills that will be doing in the practice. The practice and the skills will be developed and it will be respect to the early stage researchers. It is required that some domain of the skills. They need to be practice and practice, they can be established. And the researchers should be utmost care when they are reporting any data. So they should be most carefully need to be reported because that will be evidence for the next generations. So that will be give the information for the reports. If you report wrongly, the next generation, their research, their experiments will be flaws and results they will achieve, say therefore, it most care you need to take the assistance of the guidance expertise. Here the expertise role is a very, very important. That's why any researchers required a supervisor, that is the supervision is the playing very, very important role in the writing the report. So there are many ways of the different steps of the writing the reports. The steps are the logical analysis of the subject matter, and this will be classified into two ways, and logically and chronologically. And second aspect is the preparation of the final outcome. What is your findings, what is the final outcome of your research? So in the next step, the outlay of the framework, which upon the constructive manner it can be established of your research. Third one is the preparation of the draft. The draft should be, once you prepare the draft, should be thorough. All observation should be inclusive of the all observation. The draft will be the logical analysis of the subject. You need to be go step by step of the analysis of the logical, and it will be preparation of, and utmost importance of the research will be the context of the research of the study is the most important. And rewriting, polishing up. Once you have the rough draft, you can be rewrite the hypothesis and polishing the language that you want to be, that you require the careful revisions makes the difference. The draft, where the draft is the mediocre draft can be generated once you polish the language as well as the rewriting the phrases, and it will be giving the very, very good piece of the writing of the draft. And also while writing the polishing the and check the report thoroughly, the weakness will be there. Any report will be mediocre report or a rough report having the certain weaknesses. That weakness will be addressed by the rewriting or polishing of your report. That should be logical development or a presentation or a expertise or a discussion with your senior colleagues. That will be addressed most of the aspects of the logical writing, rewriting, or a polishing of your report. And the bibliography, we all of you know the bibliography presentation. So the preparation of the bibliography is the key aspect. What are the literature background of your report? So what is the hypothesis that you establish? What is the objective of your research? The objective of research will be correlated by the literature background. The previously X is known, that Y I am interpreting now. So the Y will be identified with this data. The Y will be established by this data. The Y I'm going to report. So this Y established based on the X that has been reported literature. The bibliography, the suitable bibliography will be very important for the preparation of any document, and that will be final stage of your report. And the final documentation should be thoroughly written, the objective style, and a simple language, as much as simple language should be used for to understand every people. The language will be very precise and concise manner to avoiding the way expressions, maybe, perhaps, but so all these languages should not be used in the scientific journals or documentations. So whatever you want to report, you should be use the appropriate language that the general is the required. As I said, seems to be, it may be, it like to be, that means that thorough study may not be takes place. Your ambiguity on your research. Therefore, the journals will not accept such language. So therefore, should be thorough research, must be avoid the terminology in the abstract as well as in the discussion of your report. And it must be remembered that every report should be attempted to the solve of this some intellectual problem. Whatever you are reporting, that end of your report should show in your conclusion that taken the problem, the Y problem has taken on the based on the X, that X has been reported in the literature. So I've taken the Y problem. This is not exist in the literature, that not exist in the literature. Why? The Y I taken as the research gap, that as my objective, the objective I achieved so and so methodology, and the objective is collected by the, interpreted by the so and so data. The data is analyzed by the carefully through expertise, and the analyzed by the interpretation of the data, we are giving the certain conclusion, the why we achieved by doing the research, and that should be acknowledged by the both researcher and the readers. It will be help to the both of the researcher and readers. And the layout of the research report. No, we cannot be prepare any report without any log. That will need to be maintained some certain log layout. Certain layout need to be taken. The layout means whatever the report, it should be contained, the components of the data, and should be comprised. The preliminary pages, how many pages should be there in your report, the title, acknowledgement, preface, forward, all are, we are seeing in the book or any journal. So that should be there. And the table of content is very important for the any book or journal. So should be the table of content will be illustrated. And the main text is the another important aspect is the part of your report is the main text. So this will provide the outline of your research along with the various details. So the following should be the following section should be consideration to the understanding about the main text. That should be introduction with the literature background. Second one is the statement of findings. So as soon as we was introduction, you need to give the statement what you want to be, what your findings to be, need to be going to be discussed in the next coming few lines. So the statement of findings and the recommendation should be given. And then third one is going to be the results. What are the results you achieved? How you are going to demonstrate? What are the methods have been used for to establish your results? That's said to be in generally research and development. The research and development is a very, very important paper. So the implications of the draw the results, what are the results we achieve from the, what are the what you can say, the results, the integral part of the analysis that data can be. And finally, the summary of the research. We need to be the conclusion. That conclusion will be helpful research and end of the matter. You need to be report. There is any appendix there, questionnaire will be there, sample information is there, and any mathematical derivation is there. There are very parameter is there. Of course, in addition to the that's nothing but the report. References should be given at the end of the report. And finally, any research article consists of the following: find a specified journal that you want to publish, and get a copy of the instruction to the authors. Any journal will be give the instruction in their specified website, and you can be get the instruction for the authors. You need to be carefully read all the instructions and prepare the article for the instruction, and select a suitable title, and as well as the author's amplification. And abstract could be whatever the results you finding, what should be there in the abstract. The very clearly, very clearly and concisely need to be mentioned. Highlights, what are the highlights are present in the results? Novelty and statement is clear. What is the novelty which is there in the report? And introduction, the materials, methods could be used for the research. And the results of discussion is the key. And your articles, And finally, conclusion. What is the conclusion you drawn from your research activity? And acknowledgement is very important. And the finally references, that is nothing but bibliography. And the overall your research will be article, will be structured, will be like this, based on the guidelines for the and a successful research paper can be established on the basis of this one. The unique style of writing, and the second one is the understand about the content. Third one is the writing should be simple and unnecessary words should not be used. And the fourth one, the deep and depth knowledge can be established on the subject. And the fifth one, the innovation of the ideas. That is your research work. Explain the different scientific technologies and provide the track of the bibliography. And strictly follow the specifications and approving the publishing of the relevant instruction need to be followed for the specified journal, and thoroughly proofread once you want to submit the journal, thoroughly proofread the top to bottom of your research paper before to the publication. And finally summarize my today's methodologies. Will be various parameterized definition of the essence of the research that should be systematic. Key characters of the research, the objectivity, replicability, and accuracy. Our goals of research should be clear and motivate beyond the research. What is your motivation beyond research? That is the gap need to be identified by the researcher. And importance of the research should be highlighted by the researcher. Types of research that has been addressed, the qualitative, quantitative, explanatory, descriptive, fundamental as well as the innovative research. Research process will be identify the problem, data collection and analysis, and the difference between the research methods and methodology should be understood. And scope and business of the research should be understood. Role of the business in research and the factors of the influencing of the research, the effectiveness of the research and data collection. I followed this book as one of the unique books for the understanding about the research methodology. Of course, most of the slides prepare from using this book. So with this one, I can conclude my research, this talk for today. Thanks once again. And if you want, I will be, give some notable innovation in the science and technology if you are interested. Otherwise, I will. Yeah. Thank you. Mostly this will be, who are not in the chemistry, they will not like. However, I will try to convince. Some of the notable, I will think to go through this one. Notable innovation in the science and technology. So, windmills, all of you know, the electricity will generate the windmill. Internet is the another source. Hydroelectricity is the other notable. Satellite is the another notable. And the most important is the technology. What we are running today is the technology that mobile phone. The mobile phones are revelation in the field of the technology, and it will be changed on many aspects. And coming to the chemistry aspect, the most 5 important innovations, many of us know. Let me show you some of them. The penicillin, which is the antibacterial drug. The preparation of ammonia. Ammonia is one of the very important for the agriculture. So the fiber hose process, that is the simple, they are taking the nitrogen, hydrogen to prepare. There are 2 elements they taken on preparation of the ammonia. Polyethylene. So what we are trying to avoid the polythene cover today. So that came to the revolution, polythene covers. And another pills, you all of you know, without these pills, it is difficult to control the population of any country. This is the most important. And the liquid crystal display, LCD. We are using the mobile phone screens. What is the LCD we are using based on these materials? I don't want to go into the details. However, so when you are going to the elections, they will put a paint on your nail, right? So how it will be prepared is the nail. So it will be generating a lot of revenue to our country. So this was indelible ink was prepared from the simple preparation from the ammonium nitrate. It will generate, there is a Mysore paints and varnish limited will be there. It will give the, we are exporting to several countries like Canada to Mongolia, South Africa, Maldives, this ink for the election. So this was discovered in the simple taking the chemicals, that is the ammonium nitrate, sodium chloride, and it will give the sodium NaCl. So this is a incredible. So this was discovered by Sidki. The Indian boy was discovered the first time there was composition of this ink. This ink was still we are using for the some of the waters, and not only we are using, we are exporting in many other countries. No, this will be generating a lot of revenue till today. So this will be impact our research, and so this will be most of the countries national research laboratories establishing. Gaia was Turkey, they were reporting exporting to the other countries. So we all of you know war. Yes. So without drinking water, none of us will be there, no doubt about it. Which was discovered by an Indian doctor. So the doctor name is the Bengali one, Philip Malinabad. So he was the discoverer when he have the having the even a Indo-Bangladesh war. So there was a diarrhea was generated. He could not understand what the need to do. The diarrhea, how to control the diarrhea, he could not. What he did now, he taken the salt and sugar, he given to every patient who having the diarrhea. That's the way it is established as the today what we are using ORS. So if the formal is the dehydrating energy, so this was established by the notable Indian. Some of the natural drugs with the morpholin, and this salsina drugs is So these are the natural. Quinine is the malarial drug, and penicillin, all of you know, this will be generated from the bacteria. And the long-standing traditional chemistry, that is the potential anti-malaria drugs, which will be generated from the several plants for the traditional drugs. And of course, synthetic medicine, as far as my concern is that I'm a synthetic organic chemist. I'm a little bit selfish to introduce you some synthetic organic molecule here. All of you, paracetamol is a simple molecule, acetyl paracetamol. So aspirin, and several drugs, rosuvastatin, there are several drugs are there, which we are using on a daily basis. There was a tragedy beyond the thalidomide. The thalidomide having the asymmetric center. You all are about this one. So there is a asymmetric center is there. One of these chiral molecule, if you understand asymmetric center, there are molecule having the two existing isomers. One isomer is the hyperactive for the drug. Another one is the potentially danger for the human system. So that will be developed it will given the thalidomide anxiety, trouble sleeping, and tension, morning sickness for the pregnancy women. So this doctor was prescribed in the Germany for a while in the pregnancy woman. Initially, the drug was safe to understand about. Later, they realized that the babies are born with a lot of deformities. So you can see they don't have legs or arms or this much deformities is there. They realize that isomerization takes place. The isomerization of the drugs takes place. As a result, one of the active drug will be act as the trouble for the sleeping. Another isomer will be defect for it will create the problems for the human system. So the guy was who survived from this tragedy. He was become a very famous writer. He was a producer, a document. Nobody is perfect. He was there, written a book or a document. Nobody is the perfect. That for that matter, we all of you know, we are stating that a man, any human being is not perfect. So nobody perfecting. So out of the 12 people, he survived, and without his hands, he able to write the book, and he was become the very popular German writer. And the generic direct drugs was established by this great man, C.P. Roy. He is known to be the father of the chemist. So he was established so many drugs. He was when you have the COVID time, we discussed many things. Out of the one thing you always remember, quinoline moiety. So that time he was established hydroxycoumarin and emetin, para-hydroxycoumarin. So that will be more active drugs in the literature. So this will be useful for the humankind. The first one is the Cipla, established founder director. Second one, Ajay Reddy, founder of the Dr. Reddy's, and they established the generic drugs. The generic drugs will be expensive. You can see the generic drugs, if it is 25 rupees, the branded drug 85 rupees, almost 3 times or 4 times higher than the compared to the. What is the meaning of the generic drug? The generic drug will be the drug will be patented. Any drug will be initially they will be patented by some company or industry. Once is the patent, if it expired, anyone can make the drug. The drug will be commercially available to everyone. So the drug, if anyone can make, any company can make. So the patent will be maybe 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. After 5 years, any company make the drug with the cheaper and less expensive. So that way will be get the generic medicine and affordable cost. The functioning is same, medicine will be same. And 2021 century, some of the initiatives are given here: variable sensor, photocatalytic hydrogen, artificial muscles. People are preparing the artificial person. All of it, that chat GPT, the modern language, synthetic chemist, and the removal of the carbon dioxide from the ocean, phage therapy, biological recycling, depolymerization, and low sugar vaccination. So this is a very challenging for us. So low sugar vaccination. If you have a vaccination, that will be substantially reduce your sugar levels. So the industry will be played a very important role in the engineering emerging scenario. They have prepared 2001 to 2014. So they delivered many types of the drug as I shown. Each year one drug is that they produced, which will be benefits of the humankind. And some of the interesting aspect will be is present here. So notable 2023. I don't want to go to the details. This one is the 2022, the last 2 years or 3 years I mentioned here. So these are some of the batteries or sodium batteries. Lithium batteries are very expensive nowadays. Sodium batteries are demanding. So therefore it will become the very important role. So chat GPT is playing very important role. Artificial intelligence is playing very important role in our life. Whereas the chat GPT, artificial intelligence playing a role, but however, we should not find the natural intelligence. So we have to give one importance at the same time, natural intelligence. The natural intelligence cannot be demand for the. And what we have done in our laboratory, I will show you the couple of slides so you can go through our laboratories. We are working in the organosulfur chemistry. So, all of us sulfur chemistry. Sulfur is very important for the many aspects is shown here: biological chemistry, alkaline, organic synthesis, metabolism, coordination chemistry, metal transponate, geochemical, planar chemistry. And this is the garlic. The garlic is present many sulfur compounds. Some of them I have shown here. The garlic is the present sulfur compounds. So one garlic having this several composition of the sulfur components are present. Another is the onion. Onion also having the sulfur compounds. So, I think you all are experienced that when you cut the onion, you will feel your eyes are itching, right? So you will get the tears. So the result is because of the sulfur moiety is the present. So the sulfur moiety will be, if you put in the water, that will be dilute. If you put the cold water, it will be decomposed sulfur. So therefore, most of the people will be dip into the water, the onions, then they will go for the cutting of the onions. Otherwise, it will be sulfur compound. Sulfur will be spray out from the onion when you are cutting, and you will be see. So this way you will be, and many sulfur compounds can be useful for the paracetamol drugs. You can be present here. Many drugs are the sulfur-based compounds. And of course, you can see the sulfur introduced represented pharmaceutical drugs. And these are the some most important drugs for the based on the sulfur. Our contribution to the sulfur chemistry, we have prepared many analogs from the various publications in the different fields, and we have synthesized many sulfur compounds using the one starting metal that known to be the beta iodine sulfone. Another aspect we have focused on the another important parameter, that is the thiosulfonate. We have synthesized many combination of the heterocyclics and published the many papers on the based on these reports. And the one of the exploration, this is the one of the unique starting material for us, and we have synthesized and find the applications of the, and we published the results. And of course, we have published a couple of reviews during the COVID time, and the most of the reviews are cited. And we have a great satisfaction. We have received the from the Royal Society of the Chemistry and a high cited article of these two. I greatly acknowledge of the contribution of my co-workers. These are my co-workers who contributed significantly our research. And of course, Harita is now in Italy, is doing the postdoc, and Sharda is going for the ISCT for doing the postdoc. Others are the various, that guy got the government job as a lecturer. Second one is working in the industry. Third one in some engineering college. And also I thank for my collaborator, Dr. Ramakrishna, the Raman Fellow CSR NCL. He really helped us for the various aspects. And of course, many embassy pharmacy dissertation students. These are our funding. Without funding, we cannot do any research, frankly. So we attracted so many fundings, fortunately, and we contributed significantly in the area of organosulfur chemistry. And of course, the chemistry is the unique for central of the science. And the chemistry is nothing but a community, health, environment, medicine, industry, science and teaching, research, and all you. And as you know, birds build nests. And the second one, man makes houses. What chemistry will do, the chemistry will improve the lives by use preparation of the drugs. Finally, if you have any question, I will be happy to answer. And finally, thank you one and all. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you for the insightful session, sir. We now open the floor for a question and answer session. Participants may please come forward with their questions. Anybody wants to ask any question? As we come to the close of day one of our faculty development program, I take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all who have made this program a success. First and foremost, I sincerely thank our distinguished resource person, Dr. Raju Jannapu Reddy, for his enlightening session and for sharing valuable insights that have set a strong foundation for the rest of the program. I extend my deep appreciation to our correspondent, Dr. K. Gautami ma'am, for her encouragement to conduct this faculty development program. I also thank our respected principal, vice principal, director, and convener for their constant support in organizing this program. A special thanks to the Teaching Learning Center and the Research and Development Committee for their cooperation and support. I would also like to thank all the participants for their enthusiastic involvement. Your presence truly enriched the session. Last but not the least, my sincere thanks to all the technical and support teams working behind the scenes to ensure the smooth conduct of today's program. Let's carry this momentum into the coming days. Thank you all and have a great evening. Now I request all the participants to give their feedback. The link will be posted in the chat box. With this, we conclude today's FDP. We will meet tomorrow for the session at the same time. Thank you all and have a nice day. I request all of you all to come for a group photo. Participants are requested to turn on their cameras. All the participants are requested to turn on their cameras for a group photo. అందరూ audio ఆన్లోనే ఉన్నారు. Thank you all. We now close the session. We will meet tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Thank you. ఇక్కడ పాయింట్స్ ఎండ్ చేయడానికి వస్తారు. సార్ ఎండ్ ఎట్లా చేస్తారు?